I'm Lenny Henry, and this is my office. This is actually a shelf of books and another shelf of books, and behind that is my desk. I'm a creative type of person, and I discovered The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron over 20 years ago. And it's basically a workbook for creatives who are trying to break writer's block, or they want to instigate a rush of creativity, or they just want to get creative about anything, whether it's poetry or gardening or singing or painting. They want to have some tools as to how to get over this rut they're in and to get started in doing something they might love. So years and years ago I was in America at a place called Book Soup in Los Angeles. Book Soup sounds great, doesn't it? And I love books, I love libraries, I love going anywhere where there's the smell of books. So I went into Book Soup in Los Angeles, and I found The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and she's fantastic. I think she was married to Martin Scorsese for a while, which must have been fun. And she is a writer and a creator in her own right, and she basically encourages you to write these things called morning pages. This is a morning page journal, and I did all the exercise in it. You write 3 pages called the morning pages every day. You go on an artist's date. Now, an artist's date is very similar to a date, but on an artist's date, you're on your own, and anything you buy as a present, you give to yourself. And it's just a thing to value your own time and your own space, and to have time to think and to cogitate about how you might be creative. So I would highly recommend The Artist's Way, and also the Morning Pages Journal, which gives you loads of lined pages in order to write your morning pages and any ideas you've got. So that's book 1. There's a lot of books in my life that I go back to a lot, and I've already read this David Milch book twice in the last 6 months. David Milch was one of the key writers on a television show called Hill Street Blues, one of my favourite shows on earth. My sister Sharon, when I was on the road doing stand-up comedy, my sister Sharon used to videotape sequences of episodes of Hill Street Blues, and then I'd get home off the road and I'd watch 5 episodes in a row. That's how much I love this guy. And if you love Hill Street Blues, you love Stephen Bochco, the writer-producer, now sadly deceased, but you also love this guy, David Milch, who was the head writer on that show for many years. He's a extraordinarily well-educated man. He worked on a show called NYPD Blue, and he also created Deadwood, which was a legendary breakthrough reimagining of the Western. It's a great read. You need to read this. He writes like a poet, and he thinks very deeply about everything he's saying, about being the child of a gambler, about gambling himself, about addictions, about his relationship with his children. And he also talks about the writing process and what it's like to be on the set of a hit show dealing with actors who won't listen to what they're told. It's an extraordinary book. It's beautifully written. It demands your time and attention, and I highly recommend it. David Milch, Life's Work. I've got to give a shout out to Stephen King on writing. This is another book that I've read repeatedly, and it's just fantastic. It takes you from how he started to when he got knocked over by a car and beyond. He's obviously a don when it comes to writing, and this book, Stephen King on Writing, a memoir of the craft, the New York Times calls it an acclaimed bestseller, or one of the classics as the Wall Street Journal, and I concur. Shout out to Tom King, Peter Gross and Tamara Bonvillain for Animal Pound. It's a graphic novel, of course. It's obviously a homage to George Orwell's Animal Farm, but done for Americans, and it's pretty pucker. Dogs and cats and rabbits at war. Really, really good. Big shout out to Vanley Burke, By the Rivers of Birmingham. There's writing in here. It's mainly wonderful pictures of black people, brown people and white people, most times fighting against racism and prejudice in Birmingham in the 70s and 80s. It's about solidarity and people standing together. It's also about people getting their hair done. I love that book. There's 5 novels in here. It's Charles Dickens, and I went through a big period in my life when I was at Jesson's Junior School in Dudley, and I read lots of Dickens books. One of my favourite Dickens books is Dombey and Son. Yeah, I love Oliver Twist and David Copperfield, but Dombey and Son is the one that grabs my heart and won't let go. And finally, this. Oh my God. If you like Mark Twain, if you like Huckleberry Finn, this is the remix of Huckleberry Finn, which focuses on the slave, Jim, who very quickly in the original book is called the N-word. And what's interesting about Percival Everett's rethinking of this is that anybody that's a slave in this book has 2 modes of conversation. One is what master expects to hear. I sitting here, master. I ain't done nothing wrong. And then when the slaves are amongst themselves, they talk in a rather elevated classic American voice where they can communicate in perfect English and use this syntax in order to discuss with their peers how to deal with their owners in a way that the owners will understand and sort of respect. And it's when I read that first sequence from this book, I did laugh a lot. It's brilliant, it's propulsive. James has to set off on a journey to get Huck back, I think. And it's Percival Everett writes like a dream. Really, really great. That's it. Oh yeah, I love this. We Don't Need Permission by Eric Collins, about black business in the world today. All good books. Love books. Buy them, borrow them, don't steal them.